Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the On the Diamond and Into the Deep podcast. As always, I am your host, Mahal, and today we just celebrate, y'all. There's zero prep that's gone into this episode, being fully transparent, but the Seattle Mariners are heading back to October baseball. They are going to play in October, and they are going to play as American League West champions. They are division winners for the first time in my lifetime, the first time in many fans' lifetimes, the first time since 2001, the first time in 24 years that the Seattle Mariners have won the American League West chip. And Cal Raleigh says, why not win some effing more? Anyways, y'all, the Mariners. Again, they are division champs for the first time since 2001. They are going to October for the first time since 2022 and the second time since 2001. And it's looking like they will get a first round bye, and we will see this team head straight into the American League Division Series. This is a big deal, y'all. This is a huge deal. And there's potential here, as we sit here on Thursday before Thursday Night Football, that the Mariners could go and get the very top seed in the American League. Now, is that the seed you want? Yes, because you always want home field advantage. That said, the path, in my opinion, might be easier through the second seed. Both seeds, it's going to be a difficult path because every team is good come October. The question is, would you rather in the DS play an AL Central team in the Tigers or the Guardians? Or would you rather go and play an AL East team in the Blue Jays, the Yankees, the Red Sox, one of those three teams? Because the way that everything is starting to shape out, is that's how it's looking. It's looking like those are your decisions. Because it's looking like Boston is going to lock down that second seed. And it's looking like the next seed is probably going to go to Detroit or Cleveland, in my opinion. That said, Houston is only going to be a game back, if not even, with the Tigers or the Guardians, depending on who wins tonight's ballgame. And right now, looking at active scores, we got the Tigers up 3-1 here in the third inning. If the Tigers win, the Astros will be a game back of the wild card spots. They head into Anaheim this weekend. So really could be anyone. If you're telling me the opportunity is you either play Cleveland or Detroit or Houston or New York, Toronto, or Boston, I think I'm taking the Houston AL Central side. That said, I don't love playing AL Central teams. The Mariners have been better this year against them, but they're not a fun opponent. They're not at all who you want to play, and they play well in the postseason because of how they play baseball. That said, the Mariners, I think, are the best team in the American League, knock on wood. But from everything we've seen, they are the best team in the American League. They have the best roster on paper. The question is, can your bullpen perform? How do your starters look? And can the lineup keep producing 3-4 runs a game? It's going to be one-run games in October, and the Mariners are good at winning one-run games. They are the top team since 2021, I believe. They win one-run games. It's what they do, and that's how the postseason works. And it's what we've talked about now for 3 years, how the Mariners are built to play in October, and they have an even better roster than they've had any of those years. I mean, you think back to 2022, right? That ALDS against Houston. How easily could it have been to have won Game 1? And then you had an opportunity to win Game 2. And then Game 3 was a crapshoot. 18 innings. You had the opportunity to win that game too. And if Julio doesn't hit one off the very top of the wall, he hits one out and wins that game. So you get what I'm getting at. This team is built to win in October. That's not saying that they're going to win in October. They're not saying they're going to win the American League. They're going to win the World Series. That's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying there's a possibility they have the chance. They have one of the best rosters, if not the best roster in the American League, and have one of the better rosters in baseball. And their path is easier than any of the National League teams. That said, Toronto's a good team, especially at home. They have the same record as the Mariners do at home, though, so far this year. And they've only been a game better on the road. It's similar, if you want to look simply at that. The Yankees. The Yankees are scary simply because they have this guy named Aaron Judge. I don't know if you've heard of him, but he's a decent player. He might win AL MVP. We'll see. And with that, I guess mention Cal Raleigh. I don't know how it took me a full 5 minutes and 30 seconds now to mention that name, but big dumper, baby. He hit his 59th and 50th. Restart. Rewind. He hit his 59th and 60th homers last night. And the 60th homer, dude, that is one of the most chills moments I've ever seen. One of the cooler moments I've ever seen on a baseball field. I mean, the whole crowd comes to their feet, standing ovation for Cal. And the first pitch, he rockets into the right field seats. And cheers to the guy that caught it. Cheers to you. Pinkies up, we're going to give cheers and sip. Because handing that ball off to the kid, man, that's freaking awesome. That's freaking awesome. And he legit deserves postseason tickets, I think, for that, because that was freaking amazing. And for the kid that got it, I don't know what he got for it, but I hope he got to, like, meet Cal sometime, get some tickets, get a jersey, something like that. Because also, that kid deserves some stuff because he had the ball. That's the 60th home run for Cal Raleigh. First Mariner, first catcher, first non-Yankee American League player to join the 60 home run club. The dude's season is unreal, and this MVP race is going to come down to the final straw. It's going to be close, and who knows who's going to win it. I really hope it's Cal Raleigh. I really do. Do I think he deserves it? I don't know. It's really tough to quantify. And I, as a Mariners fan, am having a hard time quantifying it because the stats, when you look at them, lean heavily to Judge. And the question is, how do you yourself quantify a catcher doing what Cal's doing? And if you quantify that and you look at how many games he's played and the beating he's taking, then yeah, I think you do give it to Cal in the history he's making, because this is something a catcher's never come really close to doing. I mean, how long ago did he beat the catching record? Not to mention the switch hitting record. Like, the stuff he's doing is incredible. He's managing a whole pitching staff, getting beat up behind the plate basically every day, and managing 2 swings, and he's hit 60 dingers. It's incredible. It's ridiculous. And Yankees fans want Judge to win, and I understand it. Because a 1200 OPS is no freaking joke. Or whatever. I don't even know what it is now. 1500 is it? Is that what it is? Not 1500. That's way too high. What am I saying? It's what, 1100? 1200? Like, yeah, that's insane. But he's DHing quite a bit. He's definitely not behind the plate taking the beating that Cal Raleigh's taking. And he's not managing a pitching staff in the way that Cal is. Now, if the Yankees go and win this AL East, then yeah, it also does change this conversation. Because then Judge is leading his team also to a division championship. But Cal has now led his team to a division championship over the Houston Astros, who have been a dynasty. They've been dominant. For 10 years, for a decade. It's incredible, the stuff that the Mariners have done this year. And they went into Houston, and it's taken us now 9 minutes to mention the fact that they went into Houston. And we talked about it before the series. It's not going to be easy. But they made it look freaking easy. Other than the Jeremy Pena Grand Slam, which made the second game close, it was a bloodbath. I mean, it wasn't close. And now the Astros have gone into Sacramento, almost at Oakland, and they really got the life beat out of them again. It's crazy. They lost 2 out of 3 then to Oakland. Now, they did well to win this game 3. And I would love to see Houston again in the playoffs. And people are going to be like, what, Houston? You want to face Houston? Yeah, because I think we can beat Houston. We just saw we can beat Houston in their house. Imagine what we can do in our house. And T-Mobile Park has become a stadium that nobody wants to go to. It's become one of those this year. Because the way this team plays, but also the crowd, the energy in that ballpark is unreal. And look at the clips. I mean, I'm here in California, and I'm looking through my TikTok, through Twitter, Instagram, and I'm seeing the clips outside the stadium with the Pike Street Drummer. And y'all, I'm tearing up. I'm tearing up in between classes looking at TikToks. I'm tearing up when they win the division, when they go to the postseason. Tears legitimately flowing from my eyes. Because the city has yearned for it for so long, and I wish that I could be there to experience it. I wish I could see what this crowd is like. But just me walking around my campus down here, my college campus, and seeing multitudes of Mariners hats, 5, 6 Mariners hats, 2, 3 Mariners jerseys, Mariners t-shirts. The fact that I'm seeing that here in California, I can't imagine what it is like in Seattle right now. I can't imagine, because the city is a baseball town at heart. But it takes the team doing big things for it to come out. And the team right now is doing those type of things. It's amazing, y'all. I do truly wish I could be there. But back to what we were talking about. Literally, this is just a yap session. This is just me yelling into a mic, basically. So the Mariners right now sit a game back? Oh my god, I can't do math. A game back right now. Sorry. A game back of first place in the American League. The team in front of them is the Toronto Blue Jays, also tied with the New York Yankees. Yankees are up 1-0 here in the second inning. The White Sox have a couple runners on, no outs here in the second against Carlos Rodon. The Red Sox and the Blue Jays are tied 0-0 after 2 innings, and the Blue Jays will need to lose that game. But if the Yankees and the Blue Jays both lose and the Mariners win, we're tied for first place in the American League. And I don't know exactly what the tiebreaker is. I haven't looked at it. But at that point, it would come down to a tiebreaker between the Mariners and either of those teams. And that's a thing we'll worry about when it gets there. But we are in the final weekend here. Mariners are in the postseason. They've won the division. Tonight, a win would clinch them a bye if they win over the Colorado Rockies. They're facing a guy with a 9 ERA. They'll probably get shut down. Hangover lineup. That said, if nothing else, can I just get a Cal homer tonight? Can I get one or two? Because Cal going into the weekend at 61 or tied with Judge at 62 would be freaking awesome. It'd be freaking awesome. The opportunity to beat and break that record would be incredible. It would truly be incredible. And at that point, I don't know how you wouldn't hand him the MVP if he breaks Judge's record. Because then he has the most homers a player's ever had that's not popping steroids all the time. And he's doing it as a catcher. It's insane. And the home run power all comes from his nickname, from the dumper. It is remarkable what he's doing, and you can't talk enough about it. Because as soon as you get me going on it, I'm going, y'all. I'm yapping. I could talk about what Cal Raleigh's done this year for hours, days. I could talk about this Mariners season for days. And if you've listened to me for a while, you've heard me talk about how the Mariners teams that I remember that were really fun into that 2021 and especially 2022. They had moments that were like, I remember exactly where I was. I remember how I was watching or listening to the game. I remember if I was at that game. Dylan Moore grand slam, for instance. Cal Raleigh's drought-breaking home run, for instance. There's other ones, too. It's Gino Suarez's walk-off against the Blue Jays that was on Apple TV+. It's moments like those where you remember exactly where you were when they happened because they were clutch, incredible moments. And the Mariners have had those moments again this year. You're going to remember where you were when Cal hit 60. You're going to remember where you were when Naylor had that double in the 8th inning 2 nights ago. And yeah, those are moments that are getting you into the postseason. But there are other moments. You're going to remember where you were when J.P. Crawford hit that grand slam over the Astros, when Robles made that catch. I'll remember where I was. I was watching a boys' soccer game here on campus shadowing commentators. I will remember that. That I was watching it on my phone while I was also taking notes on what was happening in the game. I will remember those things because I'm a Mariners fan. I haven't had anything to celebrate for the first 18 years. I haven't had much to celebrate, let me correct, for the first 18 years of my life. I've never celebrated a division title. I've celebrated the playoffs once, and I cried that night of joy. But now I know what it's like to win a division championship, and I remember where I was for all these different moments. Each and every one. It's amazing. It's spectacular. And I wish I could list off more moments right now, but my brain is just not wanting to think about moments at all for some reason. My brain is usually all, oh yeah, I remember all these moments. That's what I do, and if you've talked to me in person, that's something you know about me. But I'm hungry now, y'all. I'm hungry for more wins. I want this team to go and freaking do damage in the postseason. I want to celebrate an American League pennant, potentially. I want to see this team play in the American League Championship Series, in the ALCS. And let me tell you right now, my dream scenario right now would consist of you playing two teams of the Blue Jays, Yankees, and Astros. I would freaking love to have any two of those teams to play in this postseason to win an American League pennant. It would be so satisfying to do that. So satisfying. It'd be insane. And there's potential for it. There definitely is. And if you get the 1 seed, there's definitely potential for it. So maybe that's a reason to want the 1 seed now that I'm thinking about it. Let's say the Yankees win the AL East, y'all. You get the first seed in the AL. This is all just coming from my brain, but this is a total just like, oh, this could be cool, you know? White Sox just tied the game, by the way. You're telling me that you could play the Blue Jays in the DS with home field advantage, and then you could go play the freaking Yankees in the CS with an opportunity to go to the World Series for the first time in franchise history? I would freaking love it. I would die. I would die for that right now, because the idea of that is insane, incredible. And obviously, I want us just to make it. Like, that's the biggest thing. Like, I want us to go do that damage and then go play someone in the World Series, go win an American League pennant. And I'll tell you right now, if they win an American League pennant, tears will be shed for like days each time I see the clips from it. Can you imagine if they do it through like a walk-off or a clutch 8th, 7th inning something? Or they get a clutch play, like, dude, it'd be insane. It'd be incredible. But it's like, I want the heat, y'all. I want the smoke. I want to play the best teams possible and beat those teams. Because it's more satisfying to beat those teams that we hate playing. To beat the Blue Jays fans. Not let them come and rock T-Mobile Park. And I'll tell you right now, if the Mariners play the Blue Jays in the DS and I see Blue Jays fans, like lots of them, in T-Mobile Park, I'm going to like actually throw hands. So if you have tickets to that game, go to the game. Go to the game, enjoy yourself. Go buy yourself a postseason hat, a jersey, whatever. Because it's going to be awesome. The playoff games in T-Mobile Park are going to be incredible. The biggest thing for this weekend is going to be staying healthy, of course. But the Dodgers just clinched their division. They'll be celebrating. And if the Phillies hold on to their win here against the Marlins, they're up 1-0, the Dodgers will be locked into that 3 seed, which will mean they'll have to play in the wild card and they'll have to set up their rotation. I looked at who they're starting this weekend, and I would expect Tyler Glasnow not to start on Saturday. That might be the only change. I would expect Kershaw definitely to start in this series. I think he will probably start Sunday's game. He is scheduled to start Sunday's game, which would mean his last major league start would be against, of course, the Seattle Mariners, which would be pretty cool. And that's the type of game that, of course, we got to watch that because it's a moment. It's a beautiful, beautiful moment. It's going to be really cool. The clips of him that last start at Dodger Stadium are really cool. Those were the type of clips that shed some tears, that gave you chills. They definitely gave you chills and goosebumps. And that's from me as a Mariners fan. But as a baseball fan, it's like, you know how good Kershaw is and someone that appreciates baseball and good fan bases. And that was amazing. It was really amazing. But back to the Mariners. I think they really do have an opportunity this year. But they're the Mariners. We all have that PTSD. They're probably going to F it up. And when they do, that'll suck. But it's also the type of thing where it's like in 2022, it was like you got to have a really good offseason to like be able to continue competing because you had a lot of things go right. The Mariners will have to have a good offseason. Don't get me wrong. They're going to have to re-sign Josh Naylor at least, I think. But you don't have to have like a total overhaul type of offense where you're offseason where you're overhauling a bunch of different positions. It's like you're going to have to bring in a couple guys. Josh Naylor's going to have to be extended. You might have to bring in a second or third baseman or DH. And the DH, you're going to need 2 bats minimum, including hopefully Naylor. And then you might need a bullpen arm or a starter, depending on what you do. Maybe you're reallocating some money so you can get some extensions done, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But I hope that John Stanton opens the wallet book, so it's not an issue trying to do those things, But that's getting ahead of ourselves. We got October baseball before we even have to talk about the offseason. We've been talking about the offseason from October 1st on, like the past 2 years. Since I really started this. I started this podcast. Full transparency, story of how I started this. So, I started this podcast in 2023 in October after the Mariners missed the playoffs after making it in 2022. And it was the type of thing where I looked at the offseason in 2023 and I was like, I want to make an offseason plan. So, I made an offseason plan. This was when I was a junior in high school. I don't know. Sophomore? Junior. It's when I was a junior. Right? It doesn't matter. It don't matter. But, so I made an off-season plan. And I've been toying with the idea of, like, I want to start a podcast, I could do a Mariners podcast. I love talking about sports. It's probably what I want to do in my future. Talk sports, whatever, be a broadcaster, etc. Get comfortable in the mic would be kind of cool. But it was like, I was never, like, really going to do it. Like, I never thought about a name or anything like that. I had a random Monday in October off. I think it was October 10th, if I'm not mistaken. Like Rosh Hashanah, probably. No, I don't know. Yom Kippur, something like that. I had a random Monday off, and I was like, I'm so bored. I've been doing this off-season plan. I have this mic. Why don't we just, like, record a podcast episode and see what we can do with it? So that's what we did. I literally was just like, I'm not going to put any prep. We're just going to talk about what this team's done wrong, whatever, what they need to do this offseason. I'm pretty sure the very first episode of this podcast, this is episode 88, I want to say now. I'm pretty sure the very first episode, I just talked about what they needed to do in the offseason. I would love to and would hate to go listen back to that just because I'm sure I'm so much better at doing it now. And hearing what I thought they might be able to do, some excitement in my voice about the offseason, and then knowing what they actually did, and then they missed the postseason in 24 again. Like, it'd be really cool, actually, to listen back to that. Anyway, all that's to say, like, I actually do think that they could have a really good offseason. I have belief in them to, like, go do stuff this offseason. And, like, not having to talk about the offseason for all of October, too, is pretty dope. Like, we can wait till November to talk about it. It's going to allow me, I think, to be more consistent with those, like, weekly episodes, whatever. And since I've gotten to college, it's been, like, Thursday episodes pretty much every week. Last week we did 2 episodes, a Tuesday and a Thursday episode. And I don't know exactly what it's going to look like in the postseason, but Tuesday and Thursday are the days that I can really record. I mean, it might be Tuesdays, just depending on schedule, but all that's to say, I don't even know where I was going with this. All that's to say, like, the Mariners have a real opportunity this postseason, and I want to talk about that. I want to talk about what Cal Raleigh's done. I want to talk about what's happening right now before we talk about the future. Like, let's live in the present. Like, that's what we got to do. And seeing what this team's doing, it's truly something really special, and you can feel the energy. And I've talked to multiple people that I know, friends from school, whatever, family members, friends, whatever, all those type of things. And it's everyone can feel that energy, and everyone can kind of tell that it's a little bit different. And this team the city of Seattle rallies around this team, and people from Seattle rally around this team. We rally around our teams when they do well. Look at what happened at the Seahawks Super Bowl parade. And I don't even want to talk about a Mariners World Series parade because I will shed tears just imagining that happening. But the way that the city loves its baseball team is really special. And the way Seattleites love the Mariners is really special. And it's just like, thank God they're finally good. And I hope that John Stanton and ownership can see the way this team really does, or the way this fan base in the city really does love this team. And I hope that they can invest in that. I really hope he can invest in that. And he's failed numerous times already. But I hope he can back up words that he said. I hope he can go re-sign Naylor, and even if that means extending your budget a little bit, go get Polanco back for another year. Even if that means extending your budget a little bit, I think Naylor's a lot more likely than Polanco. I think Polanco will probably be gone, which sucks because he's had a great year and he's been an unsung hero of the Mariners. But it's difficult because you don't really know what you're going to get this offseason. So I think all this is to say is let's enjoy what this team's doing now, because as Mariners fans, we don't know when we are going to see something like this again. This team's won the division 3 times before this year in its history. 95, 90, 95, 2000, 2001, is that what it is? I don't even know. I think 95 and 2001 for sure. I don't even know what the other year is. 98 or 2000, I think. I don't know. Anyway, the Mariners have only made the playoffs back-to-back years once, and that was 99 or 2000 and 2001. So as Mariners fans, we're not used to winning. We're not used to winning multiple years in a row. So I hope that Mariners fans enjoy and embrace this now. And I'm going to. And I hope they can do it next year again. And they have the potential to be really good for a long time. They have the potential to really build something with their farm system and what they've done. And if they can go sign Josh Naylor and you get new pieces in Colt Emerson, Les Montes, Mike Leroy all next year, you really do have an opportunity to be good for a long time and establish yourselves as a team that's hated in the AL West. Do what the Astros did, as much as I hate it. And the Astros are so well run. And hopefully the Mariners can do something like that. But it's hard to have faith in that without seeing it. But the path will continue tonight. So this is going to do it all for me today. Path continues tonight. Final game against Rockies. Hopefully you can get a sweep. Let's go into this weekend. Hopefully even for the first seed in the American League. And let's go beat the frickin' Dodgers. Shall we? Let's go beat Ohtani and the Dodgers. Thank you guys so much for listening. This has been episode 88 of the On the Diamond and Into the Deep podcast. As always, I am your host, Mahal. Thank you for joining me. Follow us. Me. Whatever. Follow me on socials at Diamond on Deep. We will be back next week on Tuesday and or Thursday. We'll be on Thursday and or Tuesday, really, to discuss the postseason seeding, all that type of jazz. We'll probably talk about what's happening in the postseason outside of Seattle as we're not playing in the first round. All that's to say, though, go M's, go Ners. Peace, y'all.